Yes, yes, yes. What is going on? Special Saturday edition. Saturday
Yes,
edition of
sir.
Talk Yo Talk with Justin Henry, Marcus Graves. Marcus, your situation looks a little different over there, my guy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Vegas, out here for some basketball. So,
Okay. All
yes,
right.
sir, man. Getting the basketball season's back started up. So,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
out here in Vegas, getting ready for that, man.
Got to get ready, man. Get ready for the season. And we saw, obviously players, week one started last week. So, uh, we saw, man. They're getting ready too. Some of the teams looked ready. Other teams did not look ready, man. We
Yeah.
picked all the games last week. We had our records. The official records for last week, Marcus, you took week one. I'm gonna catch up. You took week
Yeah.
one when you went 9-6-1. Tie? There was a tie.
Yeah.
Like, how's there a
There's
damn
almost two.
tie?
There's almost two times.
Almost two. 9-6
Yeah.
and one. I went 8-7-1. So pretty close there. Were there any surprises last week that you saw and you were like, man, I did not see that coming?
I think not that I didn't see it coming because I did say the Vikings, but just how bad the Packers looked, man.
Yeah.
Like they looked rough, and it didn't look like it's different because like the Packers of the past, like you've seen the obviously they had Devontae Adams and other playmakers there, but like you really don't see any playmakers on that
Right.
team besides Aaron Jones and I mean obviously AJ Dillon is still up and coming, but like the receiving corps is just it's looking rough, man. It's looking rough in Green Bay.
Yeah, they're getting Alan Lazard back. Hopefully this week he's questionable to come in. He's supposed to be on track to play, but it did not look good. We saw Christian Watson out there just letting
Oh
the
my
ball slip right
gosh.
through his hands. So in the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, man,
Whew.
that boy is going to be a
Whew.
problem this year, man. So
Yeah, he
hopefully, I
looked
mean,
good.
he's gonna. I just want him to stay healthy all year. I'm sure teams will adjust at some point, but if he's healthy this entire season, we could be looking at a very special season from Justin Jefferson. One of the things that kind of caught me off guard last week, and I can go into my homer bag a little bit and talk about the Niners, but I don't want to do that. The Colts, I thought they would handle business against the Texans, and they're the team that gave us the tie. Michael Pittman's probably going to be out this week as well. So it's not looking good for a Colts team that was blaming a lot of the stuff on Carson Wentz. And we saw him go out and do work against
Yeah,
that Jags
facts.
team. So the Colts, to me, with Jonathan Taylor, with that defense, it seemed like they brought in Matt Ryan to make Carson Wentz a scapegoat, and they don't
Uh,
look much better.
yeah, they don't, but it's weird because like Jonathan Taylor looked good, man. He had 28 carries, 107, 160, 170 yards. Some catches out of the backfield. Defense looked solid. It was just they just weren't converting on opportunities. Like they had so many opportunities. I felt like to put the game in hands, and they just didn't do it. And when you let the Texans hang around, like anything can happen at that point.
Yeah.
Especially week one when all the hype is there, they got the fans on their side. Like anything can happen.
It was very surprising, and to say the least, and I don't know what's going on there if it's a coaching thing because, like I said, everybody was quick to throw Carson away. We're seeing Matt Ryan come in and have very similar production. So if this team is sitting
Hmm.
around 500 come week 13, 14, I would be looking at coaching, man. It's just to be
Yeah, it
real.
was it was almost the same. Even with Philip Rivers there, like the year before Carson Wentz,
Yep.
it was still like they're kind of in the same. Like they couldn't get over the hump. They're just right there, and
Like the
it's
talent's there and it's just all mediocre. It just doesn't. It
yeah,
don't make sense to me, bro. But
yeah,
we also had some week two action, right? We had
yeah,
some week two action featuring your Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. And
yeah.
Marcus, how the game go, bro?
Ah, wasn't our best game, man. Wasn't our best game, but I'm not concerned though. Definitely not concerned. If I'm being honest with you, I feel like the Chargers dominated the whole game.
Of
And
course
there
you're
was
gonna
just
say
some.
that.
That's a fact though. You can look at the game; they dominated. Maybe which makes it obviously the 99-yard interception they had. The Chargers dropped three interceptions. They had some, penalty calls.
Uh huh.
Obviously,
Uh
missing
huh.
Keenan Allen. I'm not making excuses. I'm just stating facts. Missing Keenan Allen is the biggest part of our offense.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm not concerned, man, because I felt like we looked good. Defense was solid. I think holding Mahomes to 20 points, like minus the defensive touchdown, they had 27, obviously, but minus the defensive touchdown, like holding Mahomes to 20 points, that's solid, man. And when you're
Yeah.
looking at the revamped defense that we've created, I think the future's looking bright.
Well, I feel like the Chiefs are coming in. They're in cruise control right now, and it was a tough game for them. Still pulled it out at home. You expect them to do that on a short week as well. So
Yeah,
interested because a lot of people were crowning the Chargers. It still looks like, even though the Chargers had their opportunities, it still looks like it's the Chiefs' division to win. But let's get into this slate, bro. Let's get into this slate. Enough talking trash about your Chargers. Tomorrow
yeah,
we got games. So for our games tomorrow, we got a full schedule, man. Let's go through it. Starting with Packers and Steelers. And what we'll do is we'll continue our trend of predicting and keeping track of all the totals for the entire year. So me and
yep,
Marcus can debate who was the better caller, pick these games out the right way. Patriots,
yeah.
Steelers, who you got week one or week two?
Pa- Packers Steelers or Patriots Steelers?
Patriots, Steelers.
Patriots. Oh, okay, my bad. No, I'm gonna take the Steelers, man. Pats looked bad last week. They looked
Yeah.
bad, and although the Steelers don't necessarily have that, they don't give me like, oh man, the Steelers are gonna come out and just like whoop their ass. Like the way they looked last week against Cincinnati, that defense, like I think that's gonna be their formula this year to being successful. And opening game at well, it's not Heinz Field anymore. It's whatever they
Yeah.
changed the
Whatever
name
I can't
to,
even
but
I don't even know the name of it.
yeah, whatever they changed it to, man. I know Pittsburgh's gonna be excited, and I know the fans are gonna be there, so I'm gonna take Pittsburgh.
This game it seems one of those obvious games, right? Like the Steelers, they should go and win. They're at home. Patriots, like, I'm going to rock with the Patriots in this one. For some reason, I feel like they're going to play up like at a different level. We've seen them struggle all preseason. We've seen them struggle game one. I'm very concerned about this Patriots team. But I think that they go and get a win for some reason. I don't. This is more of a gut call than it is like a, when I look at football, when I look on the surface. To me, this says a lot more about Belichick. Even though Mac Jones is banged up, I'm gonna rock with the Patriots, and I don't feel good about it. But I'm locking it in. I'm
Hey, as
locking
long as
it
you
in,
don't feel
man.
good about it, as long as
I
you
don't.
know.
TJ Watt will be out, so this defense, I don't know, man. There's just something about this game that screams like maybe a letdown game for the Steelers after week one, and then kind
Yeah.
of a bounce back game for the Patriots at the same time.
Okay. Okay.
JT Tony, what's good? He said, "Y'all ain't believe my Giants." Ooh, Carolina up next. Yeah, we did fade the Giants last week. Both of us did, right?
I did, and I said, man, something was telling me to take the Giants
Mm-hmm.
because I've been fading Tennessee all off season,
Yeah,
and I took Tennessee, and that was a
yeah.
bad decision.
I took
Yeah.
it was. I thought Tennessee would handle business. The Giants did, man. So against Carolina, we'll talk about that one in just a second. Before we
Yeah.
get to that one, though, let's go Commanders and Lions.
I'm gonna take the Lions. I took the Lions last week, and I'm gonna roll with them again. Although they did lose, man, they look good. They look good to me. I know they gave up a lot of points, but that offense, the running formula of DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, and Jared Goff just playing solid football like that. That was a formula I think they're gonna play with the rest of the season. And the Commanders, although they won, and I picked them. They looked horrible through three quarters. They looked
Man, they did.
terrible. And Carson Wentz and Terry McLaurin looked like they had no chemistry. And going on the road in Detroit, I'm gonna take Detroit.
All right, what I'm trying to do is pull up a schedule so that way we can just kind of go down a list and everybody can watch it along with us. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Commanders while I'm pulling up that list. I'm gonna go with the Commanders. I think that they are playing better football than people realize, even though they struggled a little bit during that Jags game. There's something about this team that seems like it's gonna be scrappy this year, and that they're gonna
mm,
come in and be able to win games. And I know, on surface it looks like they aren't a good football team, but I'm buying Carson Wentz. I'm buying a rebound. And this Lions team, I know they're good and I know they're well coached. It's just something about them they can't finish games quite yet. And I don't know if it's because Jared Goff's there, if they're still a little young. But to me, I feel like the Commanders are gonna come in and win that game. So I'm rocking with them, man. Commanders for
okay.
me,
We're
Lions
both
for
against each
you.
other. The first two, we're both against each other.
I think we split pretty evenly. I mean, obviously we only missed one game between us,
Yeah.
difference wise, but we split a couple last week too. Let's get into that Panthers game, man. JT Tony called it out. Giants Panthers. Marcus, how you feeling about this game, man?
This was a tough one, man. It's in New York. First game, home game. It's gonna be some hype. Obviously, they're 1-0. I think I'm gonna take the Giants. I'm gonna ride the hype train, man. I'm gonna ride the hype train. I
JT
think,
Tony said you better switch
yeah,
that pickup.
I'm a ride with the Giants, man. I'm a ride the hype train.
Let-
I liked what I saw from Saquon last week and Brian
yeah.
Daboll being aggressive. I want to see them get Kadarius Toney more involved. I think he's an electric playmaker, and he can't even get on the field. It seems like for them, so it's been kind of rough. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Giants. I'm gonna take the Giants.
Excuse the the pick sheet, but this is what we're gonna rock with, just so both of us can make sure we on the same track. I'm actually
Yeah,
gonna go with the Giants as well at home against Carolina. I don't believe Baker is gonna lead this team to a victory or bounce back. He didn't look that great last week. I don't expect him to look that great this week. Give me the Giants, so I'm rocking with you on that one.
yes, sir.
All right, next up,
Do you see? You said Panthers go 0-2, 0-3. You see a quarterback change, or you think they're gonna rock with Baker?
who they got? Corral's down. I'm not sure
Corral's
if
down. They got
whatchamacallit
Darnold's
came
out
back.
4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah,
He's out
they
4 to 6 weeks, but they got PJ Walker. I'm just saying, if they go 0-3, like, you think they just continue to rock with him, or you think they got to make a change? Because
this
Matt Rule's on the hot seat. Like, Matt Rule
he
is
is.
do or die for him. So
He is. I can see when Darnold comes back, they do something similar like with Cam, where they phase Sam Darnold back in there, give him one more chance. Baker goes
yeah,
0-2, 0-3. It's not looking good for him
yeah,
in the NFL, let alone on the Panthers.
yeah. No, seriously.
JT saying we need to get Kenny G involved. All that money for nothing. He actually played more last week than I expected him to. Kadarius Toney is the guy that they. Speaking of Tony, we need to get your boy Tony, your brother, in there. JT, we got to get him more involved, dog.
Facts.
So, all right, let's go to this Jets Cleveland game there at the top. Jets Cleveland. Who we rocking with?
Rocking with Cleveland. No explanation really needed. Joe Flacco looked horrendous last week. That team, the Jets, just they didn't look great. I think they're missing Zach Wilson a lot right now because that offense just can't move the ball right now with Joe
Yeah.
Flacco behind center. So I'm gonna take the Browns. I think they're gonna just run the ball all day. Jacoby Brissett's gonna be solid.
I think it'll be one of those ugly wins. Like I think
Yeah,
a lot of people probably expecting this to be like a touchdown game or more. I think this might be one of those scrappy, ugly wins where the Jets will have a chance to win on like the last drive and just don't win it, pull it out. So I'm
yeah,
gonna rock with Cleveland in an ugly game. But this has the makeups of one of those games where it's like way closer than it should be. But give me
yeah.
Cleveland, man.
Okay.
We talked Washington, Detroit already. Tampa Bay and the Saints, man. This is going to be one of the games of the week. Tampa and the Saints, even though the Bucks are coming in a little banged up. Who you like?
You know who I like, man. Famous Jameis and the boys. First home game in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And we've seen Tom Brady the last 2 years, man. He struggled against New Orleans.
Is he
I
going to
don't know
go 0-5 against the Saints?
I don't know what the formula is, man, but he cannot beat the Saints, and I don't see it starting this weekend. I think the Saints they struggled, in the first half last week, but I think we saw the team that they're going to be the rest of the season in the second half when they made that comeback. So I'm taking the Saints.
I saw Jameis talking about it. There was a clip of Jameis, and I don't know if it was actually related to the Bucks or not, but he was like, water. It's water. Like, that's the difference between them. And he was doing this monologue about water
Oh
and the
my
heat and how it tasted good. But if that's the talk he's talking, I'm believing it, man. I'm rocking with Jameis, too, and the Saints.
We
The Bucks are super banged up right now. Chris
super
Godwin's going to
banged
be
up.
out. Leonard Fournette was hurt. Mike Evans missed practice. Julio Jones missed practice. Tom Brady missed a day of practice. Like,
Yeah,
there's some old linemen missing. To me, there's something going on with this Bucks team, and they got to coast a little bit against Dallas. Like, they got to
yeah.
coast. It wasn't too much of of a battle. The
Even
Saints had to play a
even
hard
when
game.
even in Dallas game, like Dallas looked bad, but Tampa didn't look good.
Yeah.
Like they didn't look great. Dallas was just horrible. Like
All right.
19-3. That's a nasty game.
Now, when you talk about this game, we know Brady, Jameis, they're both going to have chances to come back in the end. Do you see this being more of a game the Saints kind of coast in, or do you think this is going to be a super tight game till the finish?
I think it's going to be a game where I see the Saints get up early, and we're going to see some Tom Brady heroics. But I think the Saints hold on in the end. I know Alvin Kamara is kind of on they're kind of questionable with him, seeing what he's
Yeah.
going to play. But even last week, he wasn't really a big factor anyway. They spread the ball around. Who surprised me actually was Jarvis Landry. He played really well
Man,
for
he
the
balled
Saints.
out. We talked
He
about
seemed
him.
like he seemed like Jameis Winston's safety blanket. And when they had big third downs and all that, he was looking for Jarvis. So I like the Saints in this one.
All right, so far we split on the Pat Steelers, we split on Lions and Commanders. We both got the Giants, both got the Browns, both got the Saints. So next up, we got to talk about Colts in Jacksonville, and I mentioned how disappointing the Colts were heading to Jacksonville. We just got news that Michael Pittman is going to be out for this week. Michael Pittman's going to be out. It looked like Alex Pierce got a concussion earlier in the week too, so he might even miss this game. Who do you like, Colts, Jags?
I still like the Colts on this one. I think Jonathan Taylor's, what we saw last week is going to be their formula to winning. A lot of, running the football, 4 or 5 yard gains, sometimes
Yeah.
turns into, big gains. And then we just got to see more at Matt Ryan, just, converting the big third downs, red zone opportunities, just taking care of the ball. And I think that's what we'll see this week.
I'm gonna rock with the Jags, who played well but not good enough last week to get the win. They had a few missed opportunities, even there to close the game. Zay Jones dropped the ball. We saw
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence miss ETN, and ETN dropped one a few times there in the red zone. I like the Jags this week to upset the Colts, who I feel like are gonna struggle without Michael Pittman. They're gonna go to the run game very heavily, obviously, but without a true number one receiver on the field, I can see him struggling this game against the Jags. Give me the Jags to
Yeah.
win by like 3 or 4 points.
I see a big game out of Naheem Hines this week, out of the
Yeah.
backfield, catching passes, lining him up in the slot. I see a big game for him this week.
They're gonna need him. If they're gonna move the ball at
Yeah,
all in the passing game, they're gonna need him, man. So
yeah,
all right. So we split on that one. I got the Colts. Or I'm sorry, I got the Jags, you got the Colts.
yep.
Moving on to Baltimore and Miami. So the Ravens and Miami, man, the Dolphins looked really good last week against the Pats. The Ravens handled business against the Jets like we figured they would. They're matching up this week. Who you like?
I like Baltimore. I like everything I saw from them last week, and I don't think they played their best football. And I think Miami last week, although they look good, I think that was Tua's ceiling right there. He played unreal last week.
You think that was his ceiling?
I think that was his ceiling. Like, I don't see him getting. I don't know. Last week, what did he throw for, like 270, 3 touchdowns?
He could do more than that any given
I,
week.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it, man. I think they played the Patriots. The Patriots did not look good. I see this Baltimore defense taking care of business against Tua, putting pressure on them, and we're gonna see the real Tua this week. Is what I'm saying.
All right. Well, I don't think Tua's a lead or anything, but I think he's going to be safe in that offense. We talked about how he's Jimmy Garoppolo-esque with Mike McDaniel there. I'm going to rock with the home team in this one. I'm rocking with Baltimore. Now, if this was flipped and Baltimore was on the road, I probably would go with Miami. This has the feeling of a close game, field goal type game. So give me the Ravens on this one. I'll rock with you, Marcus. I think they're the better team. I think they handle business. But don't sleep on the Dolphins. They're better than you think they are, man.
Man, is J.K. Dobbins back this week?
So he was training. He practiced twice. I
Yeah.
think even if he plays, it's going to be in limited action. There's no way he gets
Okay.
on the field for a significant amount of plays. Maybe something like Cam Akers where he has 3 to 5 carries. They get him involved. There's a reason they went and got Mike Davis and Kenyon
Yeah.
Drake. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
for the Dolphins side, like I noticed too, they were a lot more pass heavy than a lot of people expected last week. I expect them to get the run game going too. Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert, those guys, they're going to need it against this Ravens team who gave up a lot of passes to Michael Carter and to Brees Hall last week.
True. Yeah. True.
So,
Very true.
all right, on to the next one. We got the Falcons and the Rams. The Falcons, to me, played really well last week. A lot of people were sleeping on the Falcons this year. They stuck it to the Saints for most of the game, and the Saints came back. And then this Rams team underperformed on Thursday Night Football. You've had a week and a half to think about it. Who you like in this game? No, Marcus, you're not saying that right now.
I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons.
No,
baby.
you're not. You taking the Falcons?
I'm taking the Falcons, man.
Why are you taking the Falcons?
What I saw from the Rams last week, I saw a lot of holes in that team. A lot of holes. I saw a lot of, they lost a lot of, not that they lost a lot of big name guys, although they lost Von Miller, Odell, but they lost a lot of role players that I think filled a lot of, the little things that they did for their team. I saw a lot of holes last week in that team. Didn't look up. The upside didn't look too good for me. I don't know if Super Bowl hangover or what.
Yeah.
And something about the Falcons last week, man. They look. I know they gave up the game. I know they kind of fumbled the bag a little bit, but I liked what I saw from them last week. I think if they continue to get Cordell Patterson involved, Kyle Pitts, Marcus Mariota played a solid game last week. I like the Falcons.
You know, when I look at this game, I feel like there is a 99% chance that the Falcons do not win. 99%. There's a 1% chance you might be
Yeah.
right. But the
Uh-huh.
Rams, after all the shit that they heard last week about how they're falling off, Stafford didn't look good, Allen Robinson was invisible, Jalen Ramsey is toast. Like, if you're the Super Bowl champions and it's gonna be your home open, like another home game for you, you have to make a statement, bro. Like, you can't lose back-to-back games, especially one against the Falcons. If they don't win this by like 7 to 10 points, 14 points, I would be very shocked. To me, I feel like the
Hey,
Rams assert their dominance.
hey, that's what I'm saying. If this game is close heading into the fourth, never know what can happen. Never know what can happen.
If
Ball bounces the wrong way for the Rams, and you never know, man. I'm sticking with the Falcons.
if I'll put it this way, if Mariota wins this game for the Falcons and the Falcons beat the Rams, I'm coming to meet you in Vegas and I'm gonna put whatever kind of money you want on the Falcons next week. That's what's happening next week. The Falcons win this game. I'm coming to Vegas to bet with you, dog.
I like that.
All right, next up, we got to talk about my squad now, baby. The Niners
my
and the
gosh.
Seahawks. And the Seahawks, you know what? They came out, they did their thing on Monday night. And they beat the
Yeah.
Broncos and kind of shocked the world, man. A lot of people we both thought the Broncos would go in there and handle business. I think I said it would be a little closer than people thought.
Yeah.
But the Niners, man, struggled last
Let
week
me
in the
ask you.
rain against the Bears.
Yeah.
Like,
Let me ask you, man. I know it's in the rain. I know it's a monsoon, ugly game. Are you concerned at all about your man, Mr. Lance? Any type of concern?
you see that? You see that
Yeah.
right there? That's a zero. I got zero concern about Trey Lance. It's week one. It was basically like the worst conditions you could play in. He was playing in damn hurricane. Like, I don't know what people were expecting, but there's these weather games. We've seen teams adjust, and I don't think Kyle Shanahan was like, hey, we need to just air it out. They aired on the side of caution. Lost a starting running back. It is what it is, and the team was in control for most of the game. Neither team was playing well, and the Bears caught fire in the second half. So
This is my thing about, like, we talk about Trey Lance, how he's Jimmy Garoppolo, but that can run. We didn't see that last week, and especially in a rainy game. Like, I thought we would have saw more, of the run game, more, variations of options and read options and quarterback keeps and all that. We didn't really see that.
it seemed like they were trying to protect him a little bit. Like they weren't letting him just
Yeah,
get loose. He had 13 carries though, which you love to
yeah,
see that. But I think that the field conditions were worse. That almost seemed like, hey, let's get out of here without injuries. I mean, we saw Elijah Mitchell get hurt. It was like, let's get out of here without injury rather than like we need to win this game, which seemed kind of weird. But it's almost
yeah,
like they didn't put their foot on the gas at any point in that game. I never felt it.
yeah. No, for sure. It was weird. And then
Yeah,
the
I'm
Bears,
not
the Bears
concerned.
scored.
I would be concerned this week if Trey Lance
Okay.
comes out there and he's throwing for 150 yards, no touchdowns, running for like 30 yards. Like then I would be very concerned in another loss. The
Yeah,
Niners go out and get a win in any form or fashion. I'm not concerned. If he goes out and he balls out, that ends any concern for the rest of the year. Like if he
yeah,
goes and has 200 yards passing, 3 TDs with like 50 on the ground, I'm not worried about Trey Lance for the rest of the year. If he plays like
uh,
ass and the team wins, I'd be watching another couple weeks.
well, we know your pick for this week. I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take. They wrote me off, but I
Oh
didn't
my
write
god.
back
I
though.
ain't right
Give me,
back.
Give me Gino and the boys.
Oh my
2-0,
gosh.
2-0 for Seattle heading into week 3.
Man, we starting to disagree a lot more, bro. We got 5 games right now that we're split on. So this could be a big advantage for one of us if we
Yeah,
get hot.
yeah, facts.
Next up, we got the Bengals and Cowboys, man. And the Bengals took an L last week to the Steelers. And the Cowboys are dealing with the no Dak Prescott. We got to spend much time on this one?
Not at all. Cincinnati, easy,
Yeah, I think Cincinnati easy,
easy.
man. And Cowboys, I feel bad for Cowboy fans, man. Y'all already get roasted all week, every year. And now you're going to get roasted more because the Cowboys suck. And I don't see any end to it this season. We're writing off the
Yeah,
Cow. At least I'm writing off the Cowboys
writing them
this
off
season.
easily. Yeah,
Yeah,
easily.
it's written all season, man. All right. Move down to the Texans and Denver. Texans, we talked about it. They tied last week and looked a little tough against the Colts. So I'm blaming it on the Colts and not being that good. Is it the Texans being that good, or do you think that the Colts just played down to the competition last week?
I think it was a mixture of both. I think the Colts kind of didn't play as well, and then once the game got tight, when you're at home, week one, like you're hype, the fans have got your back, the energy's there. So I think it was a little mixture of both, but I think this one's a no-brainer. I'm taking
The
Denver this
puns,
week.
the NRG is there.
Yeah, facts, facts. The NRG Stadium, facts. But I'm taking Denver. I think this one's a no-brainer. I think Russ and the boys handle business and get back on track.
Yeah, I think Russ in Mile High, home opener, and losing that to the Seahawks the way they did in prime time. I think Russ might have a big game, man. We talked
Yeah,
about Russ, let's ride. Like,
yeah,
I think this might be the game that's, if I was looking at a blowout game, almost like a lock for a blowout, this would probably be it. Like, I think Denver goes in there and like destroys the Texans. I don't see
yeah,
this game being particularly close. What's the spread on this game? It's probably like 10. Like this seems to me
yeah.
to be like a double digit win.
I think they won by 2 touchdowns. I
Yeah.
think the run game is gonna just, they're gonna get up, and then the run game is gonna be too much for Houston.
If I had to call out a score, I'd call out like 31-10. Like,
That was the exact number that I was
really?
thinking. Yeah,
Yeah, this seems like a 31-10 type game. So
yeah.
we'll see how it goes. But next up, we got Cardinals and Raiders. The
Man,
Cardinals and Raiders, bro. This is gonna be a good game.
not only is it gonna be a good game. This is a huge, even though it's week two. This is a huge game. Like whoever loses this game goes to 0-2. The both teams are coming in 0-1. Like this is a bigger game than people think, especially because both these teams playing good divisions. So you don't want to get down in the division early.
Facts.
Especially Vegas doesn't want to get down in the AFC West early. 0-2. This is a big game, man. I'm gonna take the Raiders. I think they're the more complete football team right now. Arizona, it's looking rough in Arizona right now, man. I think the weapons aren't there. There's a lot of injuries going on. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins is out. I'm gonna take Vegas in this one.
Kyler got crowned a little too early, in my opinion. Cliff
I agree.
Kingsbury got the reins with no reprimands a little too early. D Hop is the driver of this offense, just like he was for the Texans. Like, I think people underestimate how much of a difference maker DeAndre Hopkins is and always will be until he's probably 35 years old. That man, he makes catches that no other receivers can, and it makes Kyler look good.
Yeah,
Like, Kyler's decent. He's a good quarterback, and I'm glad he got his bag. Like, no hate there, no shade. But this team is not good without DeAndre Hopkins.
not at all. Not at all.
They're not the same team. And so until he comes back, I think this team struggles even more. I'm going with the Raiders, who I think bounced back after a tough loss to the Chargers last week. Derek Carr looked a little erratic. I think he tightens things up a little bit. But to me, the Cardinals are in a lot of trouble, man. Looking at their schedule, they might not win 8-9 games this year.
Yeah.
So
Even looking back to last year, like I think they finished the year last year like 2-6. Like you almost wonder, like, have teams figured this team out? Because they're almost like I'm not gonna say they're one dimensional, but like
yeah,
it's almost like what they're gonna do. Like they're not unpredictable at all.
Cliff
And I
Kingsbury
feel
playing Madden. Like,
yeah, like they're very predictable team, and I think teams are starting to figure out how to defend them, and we've seen struggles with them, especially now the defense is not looking good either. So teams do whatever they want on the defense.
yeah.
It's looking rough in
I
Arizona.
mean, they got absolutely shredded. And it's Pat Mahomes.
Easy.
Like, don't get it
Yeah.
twisted, it's Pat Mahomes. But they got shredded last week.
Yeah.
Like, it was an easy coasting win for the Chiefs, and they probably could have put up 60 points if they didn't take their foot off the gas.
That was the easiest 44 points I've ever seen in week one, probably in my life.
They were trying things out. Like, you could tell they
Yeah.
were just like, let's flip the ball to the running back. Let's get Kelsey involved. Let's get every
Yeah.
single receiver involved at some level. Let's try to back up tight end, our backup running backs.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing. And then the Cardinals really didn't do anything until the fourth quarter. That was when
Yeah.
Kyler led those two scoring drives. It's ugly right now. So hopefully
Yeah.
it's not a panic on my end. I'm not, we're not like, oh, it's the Cardinals, give up on them. But things seem rough right now for them.
hmm
All right. Last afternoon, or the Sunday night game, excuse me, last game before we get into the Monday night games, Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers. Last week, we would not have had a debate about this game. there's a little room for error here.
Yeah.
Which side you picking?
Something about, we've heard the last couple of years, Aaron Rodgers owns Chicago, this and that. Something tells me to take Chicago here, man.
Oh
And
my.
I know I
Oh
took
my.
Atlanta. I know I took Atlanta. I've taken Seattle this week, and I'm taking Chicago again.
Whoo.
I'm gonna take the Bears in Lambeau to go in there and get a win. Not only a win, I'm thinking like a 10-point win.
No way.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's gonna be a little
There ain't
panic
no way
time.
in hell the Bears go to Lambeau
Go to
and win by
Lambeau.
more than a touchdown.
More than a touchdown. I see them. I see Justin Fields, man, just taking a step to where we look at him as, man, maybe this guy has it. And I know he's kind of on the fence right now. But what we saw in the second half from him last week, I know it was a crazy condition game, but I like it, man. I'm riding the wave. I'm taking
Hey,
Chicago.
ain't no way I'm not. I'm riding Aaron Rodgers train until it fall off the wheels, bro. Give me the Packers. And
Yeah,
if they lose this game, I will genuinely have concerns. I know last year it was like, don't panic, relax. Like,
yeah.
I know that was the vibe last year, but without Devontae Adams, are they just that bad? We've seen Aaron Rodgers good without Devontae. Is it just that bad in Green Bay? I'm not willing to push the panic button on
I
them
know, I
quite
know.
yet.
Alan Lazard was out, but like third and 8, like who do you go to?
Yeah.
Like
It
who do you
like they
go
were
to
going to
on that
Robert
team?
Tonyan.
Like that's what I'm saying. I'm not confident in that. I think right now, if you look at the Packers offense, their best receiver is Aaron Jones, which
Yeah.
is like that's their best receiving weapon, and that's not good when you look at the offense.
Now Drew's saying it's Fields breaking out party. He agrees with you. I have concerns for Justin Fields because Jair Alexander is going to be seeing a lot of Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields. Man, really didn't look that. If you watch the game, he didn't look that good until he had a couple like good throws in the second half. But like that Dante Pettis broken play, there really wasn't a whole lot more to his game. So
Yeah, but I
I'll be
mean,
paying attention to it.
see, it's the same thing though. It's like you saying like you said Trey Lance, you gave him the field conditions and the weather conditions, but we can't give Justin Fields the same thing.
Because he has the weapons. So
Who?
we Trey Lance does because it doesn't have to be all
Oh,
Trey
okay, okay,
Lance.
okay,
Like
okay, okay. I
Justin
got you.
Fields doesn't have the same weapons. So the
I
reason
got
why I
you.
would, you know what I mean? Like the weapons couldn't
Yeah,
be used at their disposal. That's the only reason I'm playing both sides of that weather. So good
yeah,
point. But that's the only reason is just Justin Fields on. I think if you switch them and you put Justin Fields on the Niners and Trey Lance on the Bears, I would have the same excitement for Justin Fields and not as much excitement for Trey Lance, if that makes sense.
okay, okay.
So I don't know about breaking out party. That might be reaching a little bit.
Yeah.
If they get the win though, Marcus, we're revisiting that. I might clip that up and just remix it,
I
put that
might I might have to
like
take Atlanta, Seattle, and Chicago to Mandalay Bay
you
and
know what I'm saying? Nice little money line
yeah,
parlay. Like
yeah.
that might be it, bro. All right, last day we got Monday night, two games on. First one is Titans and Buffalo Bills. Nice little doubleheader here on Monday night. Who you got this game? Titans and Bills.
Taking the Bills easily. In Buffalo. I've been fading Tennessee all off season. I'm sticking with it. I'm taking Buffalo. The way they looked last week against the Rams was just unreal. I think
Yeah.
this team's going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Home opener. We don't got to spend a whole lot of time on it. Bills will dominate. If the Titans keep it close, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I feel like the Bills are playing at a different gear right now, and I think they have a lot of potential there. And the Titans aren't as bad as people think. It's just they're not that good. So give me the Bills
Hmm.
in this one, man. Can
Yeah.
defense combine with the defense, with the way the offense is humming right now, and just the Titans won't be able to put up enough points. Derrick Henry, unless he goes crazy, which the Bills defense is tough enough to keep him in check for a little while. So I don't expect nothing crazy when it comes to D-Hen, the King. Give me the Bills, man.
Yeah.
Give me the Bills.
This next one though.
This next one, man, we can spend some time on this one.
Yeah.
Vikings and Eagles. And we talked about the emergence of Justin Jefferson. The Eagles, we did not talk about them, though, and how good they looked. A.J. Brown, the same way we got excited about Justin Jefferson, you got to be excited about what A.J. Brown can do, man. Who do
Yes,
you think
sir.
wins this game in Philly? This is a tough one.
Yeah. No, I think this atmosphere is going to be electric. It's going to feel like a playoff game. I feel like. I think these are two obviously contending playoff teams that we'll see down the line. Um, but I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be like a 42-38 type game, like a high scoring game. We saw, although Philly looked good on offense, we saw them give up 35
To
to
Detroit.
Detroit, who, although I think Detroit played really well, you can't give up 35 to Detroit.
Right.
Um, and we saw the Vikings offense last week, man, look just unbelievable. Justin Jefferson, like you said, 150 plus in the first half. I'm gonna take Philly though in this one. I'm gonna take Philly. I
Philly.
think the home field. I think all the weapons that they've added. And I think Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown continue that connection, and I think they get a dub this week.
I think the Eagles get back on the ground game, and it's going to be
Hmm.
important for them to get on the ground game, use Jalen Hurts, use the run game. They have three capable running backs, and we saw them use two of them last week. Kenny Gainwell got in the end zone. Miles Sanders had a decent game. And Boston Scott's there too, plus Jalen Hurts. Like, I think the Eagles are going to get back to the run game against this high-powered offense for the Vikings. Now, Justin Jefferson, man, is going to see some Darius Slay, but it was a really, really good effort by Justin Jefferson in the first half. We have 8 catches, 150 yards just in the first half alone. So when I look at Jefferson, yeah, he's going to be a key hog, but what are the rest of these guys going to do for this Vikings team? Are we going to see Dalvin Cook emerge? Are we going to see some of these other weapons, the Adam Thielens, the KJ Osborns of the world, the Irv Smiths on the offensive side of the ball? And on the defensive side of the ball, are they going to be able to contain A.J. Brown? Like, is AJ? If they let him run wild, this will be a problem for this team. So I like the Eagles in this one, and I don't think it'll be as close as people think. I think it'll be closer to a touchdown game than it will be to like a 3 or 4 point game. We've seen Captain Kirk in all of these years. He always has a chance to come back, and he's pretty 50-50. Sometimes he does. We've seen him make errant throws in a lot of them, but to me, I'm gonna rock with the Eagles. Better team. I think they're gonna get the win.
You see a high scoring game, or what do you think? Kind of like 20s, or
I see actually a little bit more of a low scoring game. Not like super low scoring, but I can see more like a 28-24 type thing, 28-21 type win for the Eagles.
okay, okay,
Yeah, so
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's the Eagles, I feel like, are going to be able to, at home, you normally carry the pace. The crowd will be with you. And this team is playing pretty well. So if I was a coach of the Eagles, what I'd be saying is, hey, we got to keep the ball out of 18's hands. Let's keep our defense off the field as long as possible. Let's go offense. Like, we're gonna run the
yeah.
ball. We're gonna chew clock. Let's get the win.
I heard some people talking about it. Like, the Vikings head coach was the Rams OC last year, and it's almost like, man, seeing how open Justin Jefferson was last week, like his scheming to get his playmakers open. Although, like, you can double him, you can do whatever. Like, it just seemed like, man, the plays that were being called for him, like he was wide open,
Yeah.
like wide open.
Well, they
He
move
caught,
him.
yeah, they moved him around. He caught that one over the middle where
Yeah.
he like turned around and thought somebody was going to be there, and nobody was within like 20 yards of him.
It was a
And
clear radius around him.
yeah, so like I think, although like you can double him, and Darius Slay is going to probably track him the whole night. I think the scheme and then moving him around, like I think he's still going to have a big night on Monday.
I can see him having a big night. Teams are gonna have to adjust in some format. You can't run a zone on these guys because we saw how open he's gonna get. Now the Packers also didn't put up much of a fight too, so I want to see how a different team attacks this. I want to see how the Eagles look. If he comes out and he's 150 again against the Eagles, then we're gonna be in his first special year with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
So
facts. 2000? You seeing 2000 or
I don't want to give it to him yet. Give me two
okay,
more games
okay,
to evaluate. Give me two more games to
okay.
evaluate. I think he'll be close. He'll be in like the 1,700 yard, 1,600 yard for sure. Like, that's a
Yeah,
lock. I think he gets 100 a game, but 2,000, that's asking a lot.
yeah.
All right, let's talk about it, man. One more thing we got to definitely talk about. Outside of we'll get to some Jimmy G, Trey Lance stuff in a minute, but there's been some NBA stuff going on too. The Lakers.
Yes, sir.
I gotta talk about the Lakers, bro. We always talk about the Lakers and the Nets. I feel like every damn episode, all we do is talk about the Lakers and the Nets, but that's a
Yeah.
storyline. Dennis Schroeder signed, and there was some talks on BR, some reports that Russ might potentially get benched. Like, to me, this is wild, bro.
Yeah.
How you feeling about this news?
I don't see him getting benched, but I think it is something. I think it's definitely a story because I feel like there's going to be a move that's going to be made. I could see Russ The move I can see is I can see Russ going to Utah for some type of form of Bojan Bogdanovic and Jordan Clarkson or something of that sort. But I don't see Russ being on this team at the start of the season. I think there's no way you bring in Pat Bev, you bring in Dennis Schroeder, and then you still have Russ. Like I don't see those three coinciding in any type of way. And the way bro, I don't know if you've been watching EuroBasket, but Dennis Schroeder has been hooping. Like
Really? Yeah, I've
he
not been
has been
watching.
hooping. He knocked out Greece. He's knocked out France. Like he has been getting like 30 and 10 every game. And I think, man, we saw him play with the Lakers 2 years
Yes.
ago, and he kind of obviously he didn't live up to the hype, but I see him coming back with a vengeance, man, and playing really well for the team.
He talked himself out of contract when he was asking for that 80 mil or whatever it was,
Yeah,
and so they Lakers doubled back. He doubled back. So hopefully the situation is better. He can come in and instead of playing for a contract, he can just play for the love of the game, like he was doing, like he's been doing overseas. You said, but there's some interesting things here. First of all, why do the Lakers still not have a shooter? They don't have
yeah,
a shooter, bro. You bring in Pat Bev, you bring in Dennis Schroeder. It's still not addressing one of the biggest things for this problem for this team is that there's
yeah.
no shooting, no outside shooting. And to me, you can have as much defense as you want, as much dog and intensity guys that you have. You got to have some type of shooters. So to me, I know they brought in some guys in the offseason, but it's still not enough. Russell Westbrook. Now, him coming off the bench should never happen. Like he's an
Mm-mm.
elite player still to this day. If you want to run him with the second unit more later in the game, do that. But you can't snap that's off the dog. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta let Russ be
Yeah.
Russ, man. Future Hall of Famer. I feel like it's wild disrespectful. That's even a conversation. So to me, these guys got to play their part. Dennis Schroeder's going to come off the bench. I'm sure they'll start Pat Bev and Russ in some capacity together. But the
See,
disrespect's got to stop.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like you can't, like I don't, you can't start Pat Bev and Russ together. Like there's no way you could start them together. And then what are you gonna have? Pat Bev, Russ, LeBron, AD, and who else? Thomas Bryant.
Yeah,
Like that is a disgusting lineup.
it's a whole
And
lot of like talking. That's it.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I see. I see them making a move, and I think Bojan Bogdanovic is a key piece because he's not only he can play the four, he can play the three, but he's a great shooter, great floor spacer. And that's what they need, man. And
Yeah.
I think that's the guy that we can see them going after. And then if you can add Jordan Clarkson in the mix as well in that trade, like that's a big bench piece. So I think I just don't see Russ being on this team
I
heading
don't
into
know.
the season.
I don't know if they would double back though. Like I think if that deal was gonna happen, it would have happened when Pat Bev came over. Like they would have made something happen to where it was Russ and Taylor Horton Tucker for all three of those guys. You know what I'm saying? Pat Bev, Bogdanovich, and Clarkson. So, but I could see them bringing in some wings. But it's like they just went out and signed too Toscano Anderson, Troy
Yeah,
Brown, Lonnie Walker. Like they got a whole bunch of wings. I just don't know what the hell they're doing. Like to me, it
yeah.
doesn't. There's no like real shooter that came in. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of confused with that. Russ is not gone. He's still on. Sorry, just to answer your question here, Russ is not gone. He's still on the team, but the team has brought in some additional guards. Dennis Schroeder just signed yesterday, and there was talks of Russ potentially being benched. I'm not buying into it, but we will see. Asking who's going to be the center right now. You need Damian Jones to be more than just a lob threat. Brought in Thomas Bryant too this offseason, so Thomas Bryant should be nice. Who do you
Yeah.
think would start out of Damian Jones and Thomas Bryant if you had to take a guess?
Man, I'm a big D Jones fan. I like D Jones. I've seen him in Sacramento a lot, and
Yeah,
he's a solid player, man. Just solid. Doesn't need the rock. Plays hard. Offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds. But I see, I don't see. I'm gonna take a different route. I see Anthony Davis playing more five this year than we've seen in the past. I think that's what needs to happen if they want to be successful. I think there just needs to be more floor spacing.
yeah,
And I think, if Anthony Davis is the five and they like their team is constructed now, they don't have the shooters. It'll open the floor up more just because, he'll be more of a pick and pop threat. He'll be able to, play more five out, and there won't be, as much congestion in the lane if there's, him and the center on the floor at the same time.
Now you think Braun drops to the four?
I do. I do. I think Braun drops to the four. I think also, like you mentioned, Juan Toscano Anderson played in Golden State last year. He's played small ball lineups before. Troy Brown is a bigger wing, and then you got guys, like you said, Lonnie Walker. And then if they're going to play two guards, like I don't think they're worried about getting beat, with size. I think they're just more worried about the offensive side of things.
Yeah.
So I think Anthony Davis needs to play more five.
Worried about the offensive side of things and going getting all these defensive guys, man. It's shocking for a team that we expected. The Lakers are a championship organization. LeBron and AD already have won a championship with this type of framework. Russ added to the team. All these like nice complementary pieces too, like Lonnie Walker, Toscano Anderson, Damian Jones. These guys are nice pieces. It just does not have the same feel as a team that even can make the playoffs. Like as a Laker fan, it's tough.
I think when you look back at like their coaching staff now, like Darvin Ham coming from Milwaukee, like if you look how Milwaukee played last year, they had Brook Lopez, but they weren't playing like a backup center really. Like Bobby Portis is a more of a four man, and they played Giannis at the five. Like I think that's what we see more of this year, just a lot of floor spacing and not as much congestion in the paint.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Let us know what you guys think about Russ going to the bench, the Lakers in general, just kind of struggling. Give us some thoughts in the comments, Octavius. Appreciate the comments, man. But let's do this, bro. Let's get back into football, man.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Before we get on there, thoughts on the LA Clippers. Last little hoop talk before we get in from Clip Alive. Shout out to you, my man. The Los Angeles Clippers, man, are a healthy season away, I think, from being contenders. We haven't seen Kawhi Leonard in a while, man. It's like they need him to get back. Paul George needs to stay on the floor. Do you think this team is going to get back to being a contender in the West?
I do. I think John Wall is a huge addition as well.
Good call.
He mentioned, man, like the third best defender guarding him now. Good luck. Like I agree, man. John Wall's still John Wall. We haven't seen him in obviously a long time due to injury, but I think he's healthy now. And even though he's not the John Wall that we've seen in Washington, I still think he's a great third option as a player. You still got Reggie Jackson, still got shooters, Luke Kennard, and those guys. I think they're just so versatile too, man. Like they got so many moving pieces, so many great role players. You still got Batum, Norman Powell, Zubats, Marcus Morris. Like
they resigned Rocco too already.
I believe they did resign Robert Covington. This is a deep team, man, and they can do a lot of different things. They can adjust to different lineups. So I like the Clippers. I see them being definitely a top 3 team in the West.
If the Clippers stay healthy, they're a dangerous team because they're so far under the radar right now that I don't think teams are really paying attention to them. When you talk about like the Warriors, the Suns, the Nuggets, it's like teams are even the Lakers down at the bottom of the division or of the conference right now. Teams are keying in on those teams. The Clippers, I feel like, are just super underrated and mad talented. They're deep. And so as a Laker fan, I would say is like the Clippers to me are the team to beat in LA right now.
Oh,
even
100%,
though it doesn't seem like it, that 5 is dangerous. They come out with a small ball 5 of like Kawhi, Paul George, John Wall, Norman Powell, and Robert Covington. That's a scary ass 5, bro.
Scary offensively and defensively.
Like both sides of the ball,
yeah.
bro. To me, that's a wild 5 because Rocco can guard bigs. Covington can guard the center position, and then you drop Kawhi or Paul George. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a small ball lineup to be reckoned with.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be super interesting. And Zubats is even like a big piece of that team. And Reggie Jackson, like these are guys that like were starters for them last year, and now moving into Batum. These were like guys who were playing 30+ minutes last year for them. Now we're moving into 8, 9, 10 in the rotation. Like it's a deep team.
They're like 8, 9 potential starters deep.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's crazy to think about, bro. They're top 3 team.
We can go through it like John Wall, Paul George, Kawhi, Robert Covington, Norman Powell. Pull up their roster
real quick.
Marcus Morris, who they paid, Luke Kennard, Reggie Jackson, Zubats, Batum. That's 10 right there already.
God damn, bro.
Not to mention the young guys. You got Brandon Boston still, who might take another step this year.
Terrence Mann still there.
Terrence Mann, yeah.
Man, this team is nasty, dog.
Yeah.
So I'm like, who's gonna not play?
Yeah,
like,
there's gonna be some guys who don't play for sure.
That's crazy. Yeah, Terrence Mann has a lot of upside, bro. This is crazy, man. Like just to think about the Clippers because obviously we didn't see them last year. Like they are going to be in the top conversation. I want to say at least a top three team. Do you think they have a chance to make the finals?
I do think they have a chance to make the finals, and I think they have a chance to make the finals as they are constructed right now. Like you look at teams and you're like, oh man, maybe they need like one more piece, or maybe they need to make a move at the deadline. But I see right now, I think they're a finals contender as constructed.
Man, they definitely will be a contender now. Playoff P shows up and he's hitting shots off the backboard, maybe
Yeah,
not. But then at the next season, we seen him go to the Western Conference Finals. The next season, he was
yeah,
lights out. So we gonna find out soon about this Clipper team. Appreciate the questions on hoop, man. We ain't talked hoop in a while. Except
yeah.
for that Donovan Mitchell time, Kawhi missing 25, 30 games. I haven't seen any reports on Kawhi Leonard. Have you seen anything recently?
I haven't, man. It's been super under the radar. But I think he'll be healthy. It's been a full year since, even over a year since he's been hurt. Uh, so I think he'll be healthy. I think they'll definitely still do that load management with him. Try and keep him healthy for the playoffs.
Yep.
But I see him playing more than 75% of the games this year.
I mean, even if Kawhi plays 70% of the games, as long as he's there for the playoffs, that's
Yeah,
literally all that matters. As long as he's playing in the playoffs, that's a scary team, man.
yeah.
All right. We got to talk about it before we get off, man. Appreciate the hoop questions. Like I said, make sure you guys follow, subscribe. We do Talk Your Talk every single week. Uh, the Niners, Jimmy G and Trey Lance. Over or under 2 games, Jimmy Garoppolo starts this year. Talk about it.
Two more games. Oh wait, over and how
Two
many
games.
games
Jimmy
will he start?
Garoppolo starts 2 games this year. You think that number is too low or you think
Over,
that number is too high?
way over,
So you
way
think Jimmy
over.
G is going to start more than 2 games this year?
I absolutely. I think Jimmy G is the Niners starter week five.
Oh my God. No way.
Week five, I think he is the starter. I think look at it, man. If you start 1-3, if they lose this week, the pressure's really on now. Like if you lose this week, the pressure is super on. You don't want to start the season 1-5, 1-6, and now you're just playing just to get reps for Trey Lance. Like
Yeah.
this team has championship potential, championship caliber team. Defense is championship caliber. Like they got all the weapons on offense. It's all about quarterback play. It's really all about quarterback play. We've seen this team go to the Super Bowl, go to the NFC Championship in the last 3 years. I think the leash is getting shorter and shorter.
When you trade all those first round picks to go get a guy at pick number 3, and we've seen Trey Lance in for 3 full games now in his career, I don't think any coach, GM in their right mind is giving up on a guy like that with that kind of potential, even in a losing year. Say the Niners lose 7 to 10 games this year, you still don't give up on a guy who in essence is the guy you bought all in on. Like, there's no way in my mind that Jimmy G sees the field this year. I think the Niners are all in on Trey Lance if he's good or he's bad because of the draft capital and amount. There's a lot of jobs that will be lost if Trey Lance is a bust. We talk about
100%.
Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch. People are going to be looking at him crazy. If you get rid of Jimmy G and Trey Lance isn't the guy or they lose a lot of games, there's going to be a lot of backlash from that. So I think you have to give Trey Lance the leash. You say, all right, we know we can win Super Bowls with this guy. Jimmy G is more of a manager, somebody we can't necessarily win the big one with. I think you give Trey Lance room to grow and let him develop. He's got 3 to 5 years to show you that he's the man, just off his rookie contract alone. So
I
give
think
me
I
give me Trey
think
Lance, man.
I think there's some divide in that. I think John Lynch and the organization wants Trey Lance to be the guy, but I think Kyle Shanahan loves Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he wants Jimmy Garoppolo to be the guy. Not that it's come out publicly, that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah,
And it's funny, man, we hear like, oh man, Trey Lance has all this potential, like this and that. Like, man, potential just means you haven't done anything yet. Like that's all that
damn.
means. That's all it means. You haven't done anything yet.
We gonna see,
And
man.
like you can say anybody has potential. Like just because he's a young quarterback, like it just means you haven't done anything. Like we see like he was at North Dakota and he didn't play. He played like 2 games, so he's really played like 5 games in the last like 3-4 years.
Now, even they said the same thing though. Josh Allen was kind of the same way. There was a lot of hate on Josh Allen when he first came in, had all the tools, and then developed. Like I think there's something to be said though about development and taking a guy with that kind of confidence. You don't go get your guy at pick 3. Trade up a lot of assets to go get your guy and give up on him that quick. So
I agree with that, but at the same time, like there's two different situations. The Bills they did not have a good team when Josh Allen was going through his struggles.
Very true.
Like this Niners team can be a championship level team with great quarterback play and obviously defensive side of the ball. So I think, although I do agree with you, like we saw Josh Allen struggle and they worked through those growing pains, I don't think they would consider themselves contenders at that point.
Look, you said great quarterback play. It's coming. Don't worry, it's coming. Trey Lance, baby. The great quarterback play is coming. Ryan Tannehill, my QB Ryan Tannehill is trash. Ooh, Titans fan on there, man. It's not looking good. Said Malik Willis will be starting by week 10. I think the same thing there. It's going to take time for Malik Willis to come in. They need him to develop. When you talk about potential, there's a guy right there with potential that will need time to develop.
Yeah, I like what I saw from him though in the preseason. I don't think I don't think he's ready to play right now, but you definitely saw flashes of what he could be in the future.
If they had to put it this way, if they had to throw Malik Willis out there, they would shock a few teams and win some games.
Though. Oh, absolutely.
That's the kind of quarterback he is. I don't think he's going to sit there and just sit in the pocket and throw, for 300 yards in a game. But that boy's going to go out there and win. I know that.
Yeah, facts.
Dax hurt, so I'm going with famous Jameson fantasy football, and I think, Marcus, that'll close us off. We talked about the Saints. Are you going with them as your upset of the week? You think they're going to beat the Bucks?
Absolutely.
Well, no, you picked a few upsets of the week.
I picked some upsets. I picked a lot of upsets of the week, but I think the Saints Bucks, that's not even an upset. Like the Bucks can't beat the Saints.
Who's favored in that game? That's a good question. Let me find out who's favored real quick, bro, because I've kept that game off my board right now, but that has to be a close line, like maybe a point or two.
Yeah.
The Saints right now are 2.5-point dogs to the Bucks.
Wow.
2.5-point dogs at home to the Bucks.
Wow.
Alvin Kamara is not expected to play as well. So
yeah,
we talked about that game, man. Is that one of the ones we split to? We both throw on the Saints. I like the Saints to win that one. That might be worth putting some change on, bro, because you're getting them at money line.
Yeah.
So, all right. Appreciate y'all tuning in to this episode of Talk Yo Talk. Marcus, appreciate you, my dog. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We will be back next week. Either Saturday seemed like a good day for us to be on, man. At least
I like
you'll see our faces on Friday or Saturday most of the season. Probably Saturday next week. Make sure y'all tap in. We'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.